Welcome to Married to Movies. Industry insiders John Russell and Tracy Kring live and work happily in cinematrimony. They're sharing behind-the-scenes adventures of writing, producing, and appreciating films.
Good morning, babe.
Good morning. How you doing, baby?
I slept really good, so I'm happy.
That's nice. I think I slept good. I don't know. Sometimes you really can't tell. But this coffee is excellent this morning.
And we're actually having carbs this morning. Toast.
Super stoked about this. It must be Christmas. My name is John Russell Kring.
And I'm Tracy.
And this is Married
to Movies.
No, it was going to be Married to, and then you said to, and I went movies.
Oh, okay. Do it again.
Okay. And this is Married
to
Movies. No.
You flubbed it on purpose.
And here's the other problem with that. I get the two really good words, and you just end up with the two. You're making sandwiches over there.
Oh, no.
I wonder if yesterday's podcast, like if these will come out in order and people will understand what making sandwiches is.
Well, maybe we should mix them up just so people have to pay attention.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
So we're going to be ASMR crunching toast this morning.
Oh, yeah. Come on, baby. Put your pants back on. This is a family show.
I'm just going to say, I make great guacamole.
There is a massive misconception by, let me just say it, white people, of what guacamole is. Mm-hmm. Okay? When we're talking about white people, me being one, but understanding that guacamole is more than just crushed up avocado. Guacamole is supposed to have flavor. It's supposed to have taste. It's supposed to have, a variety of things. It's supposed to have garlic. It's supposed to have tomato. It's supposed to have onion.
Well, now,
cilantro.
But maybe that's what white people put in it. I don't know. Authentically, I've never been to Mexico.
You know what? Fuck authentically, okay? What tastes good? What gives something flavor?
I have a trick. I put a little spoonful of mayo in mine. Mm-hmm. Now, that is not authentic.
No.
I seriously doubt it.
No.
But I feel like it makes it super creamy and kind of wards off some of the browning. Along with lime juice, of course.
Gotta have a little lime juice in there. Absolutely.
So, I wanted to...
Hopefully you written this all down because we gave you a great guacamole recipe there. Just letting you know.
Okay. I wanted to talk about... I told you last night, I'm not going to talk to you about this show we're watching because I want to talk about it on the podcast. Okay. What was the name of it? Class of 09?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It actually has like the girl who gets spoiler alert killed at the end of the first season.
Kate Mara.
Yeah, she gets pushed off, into the train.
Right.
Got her in it. She's really good. She's a good actress.
She is a good actress. We were actually going, hey, she would be really good in our movie Sky Valley.
Right. She's a good age. I don't know. I just like her. Lots of other, talented people in this thing.
I'm looking him up. He's from Atlanta. He plays a paperboy in Atlanta. Yeah, I really love him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. His name is Brian Tyree Henry.
Nice.
Brian Tyree Henry. And he was also in that movie that was on Apple TV starring, where it was like her and him and they're always like in the pool in the trailer together. Katniss Everdeen, Jessica. What is her name?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Thank you, Jennifer Lawrence.
I have no idea what you're talking about. The one where...
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, man.
Freeway.
See, it's like that. It's some,
U-turn.
Yeah, it has something to do with the national highway system. Yeah.
Or driving.
Yeah, something like that.
Wrong turn.
No, it's not Wrong Turn. That's a horror movie.
Okay.
Bullet Train. No, that's not it. No. Causeway. I didn't even watch that movie.
No. Just so you know what Class of 09 might be about. It's evidently this girl, she gets recruited to be in the FBI.
Right.
She ends up going to like Quantico to go to school.
Right.
We're flashing from the future to the past. And it's like futuristic.
Yes, right, exactly. Like part of it is set in 2034.
Right.
And part of it is set in...
And they have, like... I'm just saying, they have, like, those kind of, like, store-bought effects with the, like, robotic eyeball thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, very just out of a effects pack kind of effects. Mm-hmm. Like, all the screens are, like, the air screens. I don't know.
It also kind of always bothers me when we're talking about, okay, so this is the future, which is basically 11 years from now. 11 years from now. And we're going full Minority Report here? I mean, I don't think so. I really don't think so. You know, I mean, where people are like, you know, the whole thing where there's the screen and people are like moving it with their hand and it's moving and all this type of stuff. I'm just like, no, I don't know.
Well,
kind of ridiculous.
So, she's in this particular scene that we're going to act out, the script that I wrote.
Okay.
Now, the action paragraphs, I just kind of, you know, flubbed those in so you would know what was going on.
Right.
So she's been recruited to join the FBI and she's heading towards Quantico for her FBI training.
So the setup here is the woman driving towards a Quantico entrance sign. She stops the car in the street staring at the sign. A car behind her honks. The man driving gestures out the window to move. She drives on and then parks and gets out of the car. The guy ends up parking right next to her with no cars around them.
Why would you park right next to someone?
Well, let's start with the fact that nobody stops in the middle of the road to look at a sign. Everybody is aware, unless they're not looking in their rearview mirror, that they're in the middle of the road.
No.
And this is just a very... you know, a very cheeseball like, oh, wow, look where I am.
I'm entering the palace.
Yeah, it's super cliche.
I think this was written by FBI agents.
Or by an AI. The guy ends up parking right next to her with no cars around them. He watches her walk by. He follows her up the steps of an official-looking building. Hey, you know, you can't just stop like that in the middle of the road.
Sorry, who are you?
Why? You think I look too old?
Too old for what?
To be your classmate.
Oh, no, I didn't think you looked old at all. I'm Ashley Poet, but everybody calls me Poet.
I'm Murphy. I'm a cop, or was a cop.
Makes sense since you pulled me over.
Well, old habits. 12 years, Salt Lake City. What about you?
I was a nurse.
He opens the door for her and they walk inside. Oh my God. Is your heart just about to burst with pride? They stand there taking in and then look at each other.
You get nervous around people, don't you?
He looks taken aback.
You try to be funny, but it just ends up sounding obnoxious, and then you're left scratching your head wondering what went wrong.
He laughs to himself. Well, you want to know what I think? I think we're about to have one of those friendships that starts off really bad, but then gets really good. She chuckles and walks forward. He just stands there watching. She looks over the balcony railing and stares at a gigantic FBI emblem on the floor below. And scene.
That shit was bad.
It's so bad. It's like, people don't talk like this. People don't do this. I'm just letting everybody know I was purposely delivering the dialogue in a very stilted and bad way because that's kind of what he ended up doing.
I heard that line. We both heard that line. My name's Ashley Poet, but everybody calls me Poet. And we were just like, turn it off. Turn it off. I'm not watching this crap.
It was, I told Tracy that when I looked at the actress and she said that, I could tell that her soul died a little bit inside. She had probably gotten into a huge fight with the director. I was like, don't make me say this. Nobody would actually say this. Please don't make me say this.
Right.
She even kind of blinks a couple of times when she said it. She's like, I'm trying to make this work.
She's trying to throw the line away, which is what you should do. You should throw it far away. I will make this point for screenwriters out there or directors out there or anybody out there who's making films. The names of your characters aren't cute. The audience does not give a shit.
Right.
The audience cares so little about their cutesy name.
Right.
And guess what? The audience cares even less when you start describing why they're named a cutesy name.
Yeah, it really just makes everything just seem cheap. You know? It's like, hi, this is Detective, Mike Hammer, It's just...
I'm named Hammer because...
everything is a nail
really
to me.
Crack the case.
I
always hit the nail on the head.
I'm always nailing girls, It's so stupid.
We did this one time in a script, and a good friend of ours and collaborator and co-writer, Josh. I'll actually name Josh because he's awesome and maybe he's listening. Hey, Josh. Love you. He read it and he was like, Jesus Christ with the cutesy names, He was like, if you have to explain why somebody is named something, like, please stop.
What was the script that he's talking about?
I don't remember.
Was it one of ours?
Yeah. It was something that we had written.
Oh,
absolutely.
Geez. Oh, okay.
Absolutely. And I really, I really appreciate Josh for being honest, giving good feedback, because I have tried to avoid that in future. And this was a perfect example.
We do have a movie called Hobo Jesus, and Jesus is his name, and that is basically something that he created for sort of his own purposes.
What, the name?
Yeah, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Hobo Jesus. I mean, well, people just call him Jesus.
Yeah, they call him Jesus. But yeah, he is basically...
But that's not got to be explained. That, like, millions of people are named Jesus.
That's true.
Okay? That doesn't need explanation.
But it's spelled differently.
Well... We spelled it different because we didn't want people just to say Hobo Jesus. And we had to come up with a phonetic spelling of it. That would be different.
Right.
But that is never explained. It's never gone into. It's just a on the poster thing.
Right.
Josh also was the co-writer with us on that film.
Yes. That was a really interesting experience. Real quick aside here, even though I've been told that my asides are problems. That was an interesting experience because Josh came in to our house, just met a character on the bus. He was riding on the bus.
Well, evidently it was a character who was in town.
Basically, he's like this homeless guy who, has a staff and is kind of prophetic, and people say that he used to
Jesus.
Right, and they say that he used to be brilliant and used to go to college, and he's
in Troy there's like the RPI,
right,
the big technical college of mathematics and all this stuff, and the vibe was that he just mentally he cracked.
Right. Exactly. Sort of like what they talked about in Good Will Hunting, that that's what happened to Timothy McVeigh. Great scene, by the way, with Robin Williams, describing what happens when a genius cracks.
Right.
So Josh comes and he says, I think we should create a movie.
Josh said he thought we should totally base a movie off of that character.
Right.
Hobo. The hobo in Troy.
Right.
The hobo Jesus that carries his staff.
That's just one of the many, many ways inspiration can come.
Right.
Is just from, okay, here is something that we can kind of begin with, that we start with. And
I'll say, I don't remember who came up with the idea. I think it was you. But it could have been Josh. But honestly, it was all three of us because the circumstance had to exist for the idea. The idea was that this character would hobo his way into town and just start trying to gather resources, like a place to live, a way to eat.
Right.
He had no money.
Right.
He would try to gather resources by coming up to strangers and telling them, if you give me a week and we trade this resource for my effort, I'll change your life in 7 days.
Yeah. It's like, tell me what the biggest problem you have in your life is, and in 7 days, it'll be better. I will help you try to figure out whatever that problem is. If you buy me dinner, or if you give me a place to sleep, or something like that. So it's kind of this barter system.
In the film, what we end up finding is that through creating a community around himself as the center of it,
right,
people were able to solve their own problems.
Exactly.
They were able to actually, really, Jesus was just the conduit.
Really figured out that he could be the hub that all of the other, spokes of the wheel could connect to. And then he could connect everybody together. Now, this goes extraordinarily well sometimes, and it goes extraordinarily badly sometimes, just like, everything in life when you try to basically get in and fix other people. And some people don't want to be fixed, or their motivations are, quite skewed.
If you Google Hobo
Jesus, Heyseus, yeah.
Heyseus. If you Google that, you'll find it online. You can watch it. That one has a really cool story too, which I'm going to do an aside.
Okay.
Hobo Jesus has a really cool story about how we ended up making the film, because originally I was going to shoot it, and we were going to do it in our down and dirty indie style, and we wanted to cast this one actor. I'll call him Theo. We wanted to cast him in another film, but we couldn't. It just didn't match up.
Okay, I just want to point out that the made-up name for the person that you just made up was the actual person's name.
But they don't know.
I'll call him Theo. What? You absolutely should not be in the witness protection program. We'll call him Al Capone. Wait. You mean Al Capone?
No, it's a made-up name.
Yeah, it's a made-up. It sounds like the gangster, but it's a made-up name, Al Capone.
Salapone.
Wow, when you get put on the spot sometimes, just gold falls out of your mouth like a fish. You're just falling out of your mouth. That's amazing.
Stop making fun of me.
Uh-oh, she got the sillies.
Okay. All right, so, yeah.
Thank you, Theo.
His name is really Theo.
Yes, it is.
And I'll call him Theo.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's his name.
Because that's really his name. Exactly.
I was thinking about, maybe we should change the names to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
So, Theo was super excited to finally work with us. And he was, posting about us on Facebook. And he shared one of my posts, which was about my inspiration for the visuals and the vibe of the film. And I had used a lot of paintings of my grandfather's. My grandfather had passed away recently, and I really wanted to kind of pay homage. And this film, I thought, matched with the vibe. Very rural, very pastoral, little white farmhouses with clothes hanging on the line outside from trees, right. Things like that. Very, very country.
Right.
And so he shared that post, and a DP who he had worked with in the past, who followed him on Facebook, saw the visuals, talked to Theo, called us up, and said, hey guys, I want to bring all of this talent, all of this experience, all of this gear, all of these people to your project.
He basically brought an entire film crew.
Yeah, he brought everybody.
Right.
It was John and I and Josh, and I'm working in New York City all the time. I'm shooting that visual, the crusty urban visual all the time.
He's a very, very popular model photographer, and does a lot of corporate work, and he does commercial work.
I think he'd won a Tony.
Oh, yeah. He
a great guy.
Yeah.
Talented.
Extraordinarily talented guy, but he had never shot a feature film before.
And he wanted to get out of the city and shoot, this kind of visual. He was very inspired by my grandfather's paintings.
Upstate New York.
Thanks to our sponsor, Movie Mode Merch, the graphic t-shirt store to outfit you for your next film set. Be the person wearing the t-shirt everyone asks, hey, where'd you get that shirt? Cast and crew alike love these inside jokes and filmmaking-inspired designs. Check them out on Insta at Movie Mode Merch.
We actually shot it about 15 minutes from Albany in Castleton-on-the-Hudson.
Which is just a beautiful, beautiful place, because it is right across the river. You can see Albany, but it feels like a completely different world from it. It feels like you're in the Midwest.
So, John and Josh are in the pickup truck scouting locations.
Yes.
Okay. And they drive outside of Albany over to this area. I think Josh probably knew about that area.
Skodak.
They actually, because we needed police, and I would not suggest writing police into your script. That's kind of a bad idea.
Yeah, it really is. Because most of the time you have to fake it, and it doesn't look good when you fake it.
Well, and to fake it even well, you need real costume-looking things. And to get a cop car, that's not easy either.
No.
Especially in this day and age where the cops are the bad guys, basically. And
we actually did a movie in Florida where the police were going to let us rent a car, because they will let you do that. Basically, if you pay for the policeman, like something like $150 an hour or something like that, they'll and if it's their off time, they'll come and they'll bring a car. But right about 2 days before we were supposed to shoot,
there was some bad...
there was a meeting.
Well, there was some bad cop vibes going on in Florida at that time.
Yeah.
And they had a freaking citywide cop meeting.
Yes.
Where they discussed our film.
Yeah, they discussed we don't know how the police are going to come off in
and
this.
We just don't want to be portrayed at all anywhere on film ever.
Right. And that, and that kind of thing happens all the time.
But Hobo Jesus was made prior to this time. So,
and you're also in this really, bucolic small town.
The smaller the town, the better. You're dealing with people who live there, who work there, who grew up there,
proud of their town.
Proud of their town. The small town is like indie gold, independent film gold. So, you guys had talked to the guys at the police department. We were going to use inside the department in a holding cell. We were going to use a police car. You left with police uniform.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think someone had gained too much weight and you got all their old stuff.
And I still have a couple of those pieces. They allowed me to keep.
There was a costuming networking event.
Yeah, there was a halfway to Halloween party a couple of weeks ago, and I wore that costume.
You guys, then you're driving around, you come along this street. It's basically...
Just this beautiful open straightaway. On both sides of the road.
Field.
Nothing. Yeah, just fields.
And then at the end of this street is a farmhouse that is almost identical to the one from my inspiration.
Well, I looked over to Josh, who was driving, okay? And I said, what we really need is that kind of place right there. That house. That's exactly what we need. And I said, as a matter of fact, turn around and we go and we start talking to
knock on a complete stranger's door.
Yeah, we knock on his door.
Hey, I'm John Russell King. This is my partner Josh. We're making a movie.
Yeah, and basically we convince him that we would love to shoot in shoot in his house.
Okay. This just an adorable older man, lives alone there, has been renovating. So what we find out later, we're told the story, because he enjoyed the hell out of being part of the movie. And he
painted the house and, he went crazy.
He had been renovating for a year, and he renovated everything else to finish the house for our film in a month. It was just beautiful. It was a perfect location. So, but we find out later, the story was, you guys left.
Right.
He called one of his friends and he said, "You'll never believe what happened. These guys are making a movie and they knocked on my door and blah, blah, blah." And his friend goes, "They're scammers. They're just coming in there trying to look at all the stuff you got and they're going to rob you." He's scared by this guy's notion. So, he calls up the cops.
He calls the cops.
So, and he goes, "Hey, I just had some guys come by my house, said they were making a movie. Maybe they want to rob me. I don't know." And the police department goes, "Oh yeah, those guys, John and Josh, yeah, they were just here at our place too.
We gave them a uniform.
They're making the movie here too."
So it was pretty perfect. And the people of Castleton on the Hudson, when we had the premiere, we had probably 400 people at it.
Sold a lot of DVDs.
They were so excited.
Well, and we had tons of extras from the town.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. If you have a script, or if you want to tailor make a script to a town, that's a smart thing to do, because that whole town's going to come out. Go to the town meetings. Mm-hmm. Involve yourself in the community. Ask them what they're proud of.
Think of something like a mayor for a town like that. It's not his full-time job, but he still has power. So it's just like you're walking up to just anybody. But he actually has authority, and he can introduce you to people. And
we had a library that we had scheduled and everything in another town, and it had fallen through. And we actually called the mayor of the town that we were shooting in and said, "Hey, we're screwed. We have no library.
We need a library for tomorrow,
like a couple days."
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, "Oh, no problem. We'll just call a town library."
Yeah, I mean, it was just having the cooperation of the local government in that situation is just so incredibly useful.
Yeah.
Because we're shooting all of the streets and
all over the place.
Yeah, and the other thing is that upstate, they love filmmaking, and there's not a lot of like red tape. You don't have permits and all this kind of stuff.
Well, in that little town, we did not have to worry about red tape.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were in Albany, you might have, to deal with it a little bit more.
I mean, the cops were in the film. So, like, they knew. We would just tell the cops, hey, we're going to be over here this day. Hey, we're going to be over there this day. Hey, we're going to do this, in case you hear anything.
Yeah, we had an entire motorcycle gang that came through.
Yeah, we told them. We said, we're going to ride a motorcycle gang through the middle of town by the church. Yeah. Just so you know. And they were like, oh, cool, we're going to come see.
Yeah, because I'd always loved those shots where, you've got like, 25 motorcycles and they're like driving through town, sort of like.
But the motorcycle gang was from around there too.
Oh yeah, they were just super nice and super wonderful people. But it really harkened back to The Wild One or something like that. Just really, cool imagery. That's one of the fun things that you can do as a filmmaker is you can sort of take these like iconic ideas and make them your own. You can kind of, put them through your lens.
Well, Hobo Jesus was just a really, really awesome movie to shoot.
Yes, and feel free to watch it. What was the other thing you want to cover?
One last thing before we head off to start our day. You will often mentor people, right? Mm-hmm. You will often maybe have consultations, things like that with them.
Yeah. Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah. And, of course, the best way to get a head start is ask somebody who's already done it.
Right.
Find a mentor. So, last night you just randomly got somebody who needed.
I think it was on a Facebook group, and he was talking about basically what happened. Sometimes people just fall into a possibility. This gentleman from Washington was approached by someone who saw footage that he had been shooting for his church. And this person said, I'm interested in seeing a documentary done about. He doesn't even know who it is.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. You have to sign an NDA to find out who this documentary is going to be about. He doesn't even know yet.
So the subject is unknown, but this guy has been shooting. Evidently, it's really good footage for his church.
Yeah, it's like 110,000 people. Nice sized city.
He lives and works in a small town. He's been filming, things for his church and really had no aspirations to get into film.
Right. So somebody says, hey, would you make a documentary? And he goes, sure. And then realizes he has no idea how to do that.
Well, he goes, I really want to. But
right.
How the hell would I do that?
Right.
So he, through Kismet, gets me, gets in contact with you.
I've been involved with, dozens of documentaries, with Tracy editing them and me ADing them and co-directing them. And
they have a call last night. And one of the things that John and I will often do, because, the way our house is laid out, he can be on the other side of the house, but there's like a long walkthrough and I can still hear you. And you talk really loud, obviously. And so I will listen to your conversation. Yes. And if I hear a hole.
Right.
I'll text you.
She'll text me.
I'll text you an answer.
And she gets mad if I don't use her texts.
No.
If I don't say what she is texting me.
No, that's not it. Sometimes you won't approach the subject, and I wonder, why did he not bring that up?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll be like, oh shit, I should have been looking at this text that you had just. Giving me all of this gold,
No, I mean, you're on the phone. It's your thing. You know the vibe, but I am hearing holes, or
right.
I'm hearing, like last night, he was saying, like, what questions should I ask them?
Right.
And you were basically, on a roll about budget and, like, you were getting really too deep. He was just wondering, what do I need to know so I can
basically
land this?
He has to secure the documentary.
Right. And what should he know to know what he's getting into? He literally needed to know things like questions to ask, like, what do you perceive the budget being?
Right.
When would you want this done by?
What's the style of documentary that you're talking about? How much access am I going to have?
What do we want the audience to get out of this documentary?
Right.
Because a documentary is, I think, even more than a feature. In a feature, we can kind of be like, hoping that the audience picks up on certain things, but mainly we want to entertain them. And if they get something out of it, great. If it sticks with them, great. But in a doc...
Well, it's really the opposite of that. You want them to get something out of it, and hopefully we entertain them.
We have a perspective.
Right.
And we're trying to entertain them to get them to see this perspective.
Right.
In a doc. I was texting you because I was like, you're ignoring his question. Like, he's asking this. He's like much more beginner than you're realizing. And
you were right. Definitely.
And then you build upon that, and he was just like, I heard him. He was just like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, you're blowing my mind. I'd never think to consider this or ask this or do this. And I also hear you working with a lot of people out of film school. And the same thing happens. Because when you're kind of lacking real world experience, sometimes you just don't even know the foundational elements of where to start.
Well, there was a really, we do this thing called Lunch Club, which I would recommend to any entrepreneur, actually, which is basically, it's an app that you set up on your phone that connects you up with people in a particular field. So depending on what you're looking for, are you looking for angel investing? Are you looking for other entrepreneurs? Are you looking for, whatever it is you're specifically looking for, they'll take other people that are looking for what you bring to the table, and you'll have like a 45-minute conversation over Zoom with them. And there was a guy that you talked to yesterday that put it very, very well as far as people who are beginning.
Yeah, well, and I told the guy, I'm like, I don't know if you're coming up with this off the top of your head, if this is something you've been taught or learned, or if you read it somewhere, but this is just that's so succinct. Hard work compounds. We all know about like compounding interest and how money grows, right? But we don't understand that our hard work is compounding too. Okay, I got to make a documentary film. How am I going to do that? You can't start there. The guy was on the right track. What questions do I need to ask this company so that I know if I can do this documentary or if I should? Or
do they even have the resources? Like, sometimes people will just talk, and then you got to call their bluff.
You have to put a dollar figure to it.
You have to say, oh, are you really serious about that? Here you go. I'm pushing my chips into the middle of the table. Are you actually playing the game with me or not? Or are you going to fold?
Right. So, and basically that every day, you wake up and you're not making a documentary every day. You're not making a film every day. You're just doing, today we have to find this role to cast and we have to find this location to shoot in.
Right.
It's just small.
This piece of equipment, this crew member, it's just a series of little Tetris boxes.
Yes.
And they're falling and you're turning them and they are, I'm doing this analogy for you, Tracy, because you love Tetris.
Yes. You get all of it in line and then it goes away.
It disappears.
It disappears.
Once it's disappeared, that means you own it. That means that is now part of what you have been building.
Right. That's in your bag of tricks. And it compounds. So get those two things today. If you only get one of them, that one gets carried over to tomorrow. If you have two things to get, you got to cast somebody and get a location. You don't get a location, but you cast somebody. The location carries over to tomorrow.
And then tomorrow you had the location, and you had finding the money. Okay, so now I have to get the location and the money. Well, if I get both of those, then I can just do what I was supposed to do the next day instead of carrying something over.
Well, you're probably going to get the location and have to carry over the money.
Yeah, probably. You're always having to carry over the money.
You're always.
Yeah. You're never going to have the money.
Just have the money on the list at all times.
At all times, yes.
But also, I will say this about, yes, absolutely budget your film and all that. But one thing you have to remember is like creativity is free and it doesn't cost money.
Right.
And as long as you can creatively look at a problem and figure it out and you don't have to throw money at it, you're saving money. You're not putting that money from your budget into something.
One of the things that you will hear me say all the time is that the scripture says money answers all things. Okay, that's the scripture. Money answers all things. What that means then is when you don't have money, you need to come up with the answer.
Right.
Okay, because the answer to all your problems is, okay, just pay for it. I don't have this. Okay, I now will take a pile of money and I will get this. Or I will buy this person's skills. But when you don't have that, you need to come up with a different kind of answer.
For instance, whenever we lost the location for the library in Hobo Jesus, if we had money, we could just throw money at it, defer people to another day of shooting. If they came in on a bus, send them home.
Right.
Like whatever. We got the money to cover that.
Right.
We're just going to put it off to another day. We're going to work hard. We might have to pay more for this location because it's short notice.
Right.
That's throwing money at it. Creativity is like calling the mayor in a panic. Or how can we rewrite the scene so that it's not in a library?
Right.
How can we alter ourselves to fit the situation that we're in now? And, some people in film, they get so rigid, they really resist that.
It is a lot easier to mold yourself to the world than to mold the world to you. Okay? The world is, it's a very large thing. You can't control it. So you need to morph and mold and make yourself work in whatever space the world gives you.
I think that was it.
You think that was it?
I mean, that seems like a final statement to me.
I like it. All right. Well, this is John Russell Kring, and I'm just telling you, don't watch FBI Class of 09. It's just not worth your time.
Do watch our film and leave a review so we can read it and laugh about it.
We love doing that. Hobo Jesus. Please check it out. Lots of love to my best friend in the world, Mr. Joshua Paul Owens. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, don't forget, we're sponsored by Movie Mode merch.
Oh, there we go. Oh, you remembered our sponsor. Well done.
Check out their shirts. They're awesome.
We're getting good at this.
I'm sure there'll be like a commercial inserted here.
It's hard not to get romantic about movies. Thanks for listening to Married to Movies. John and Tracy will meet you for breakfast tomorrow. Thanks to our sponsor, Movie Mode Merch, comfortable graphic tees made by and for awesome filmmakers to wear on set and off. Check them out on Insta at Movie Mode Merch.